Welcome back to the God of Knicks podcast. I'm your host, Apollo Reed, and I'm here with my boy Eru from the God Knicks podcast. How you doing, bro?
What's good, man? Coming off the bench here to support my guys here, Mr. Apollo Reed. Happy to be here.
Yeah, man. Apparently I'm by myself. I was by myself tonight. Eru didn't know how clutch he was tonight, man, because I didn't know I was gonna be alone. It had just been me. You guys would have been looking at me tonight. But I got my boy with me, and we're gonna talk about the Knicks and how we beat the Bucks. 113 and 98. We were up by 22 at one point at toward the end of the game, of course. But I like I said at some point when we were coming back, well, while we were already up, I said, listen, we got to go up 21 just because we were down 21. You know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
said the same thing. I said the
Yeah,
same thing. Like, I wanted to beat him by 30, just for the simple, just over GP, man. You know?
yeah, just for putting me through it, just for putting me through it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they put this one out. Shout out to the chat. What's going on, Cuzzo? Got tuning here. But boy, a hell of a game, man. Julius Randle, he stepped up about time, woke up, and then said, "I guess I'm gonna play basketball today." But did you really expect anything else when we were playing a good team? That's kind
I
of
don't
the
know,
the
but
narrative here.
the thing with the Bucks, I think we just have their number because even last year we beat them a couple times because the game plan for Giannis is to close the driving lanes, and that's
Right.
exactly what the Knicks did. It started like around maybe the end of the second quarter, and we,
Hmm.
we just locked in the passing lanes, and he wasn't able to do anything. He was not able to get into the paint. He had like a three. He had like a baseline jump shot. Outside of that, he wasn't able to get anything going, man. He was just
Right.
throwing his body inside. So it's the next game plan. Our adjustments, was the tail of the day.
Yeah, man. And you know, there was clearly the first half was a completely different game. Um, we couldn't hit a shot. They were making everything. They were. I think it was at one point. What was it? 30-11,
Yeah,
I believe. And
yeah,
at that point, I said, "Yeah, this game's over." I did. I said this game was over because you go down like that versus a team that just won a championship. I don't care who's there and who's not there. You don't do that. These guys know how to win basketball games, but apparently they let up on the gas on the wrong team because we're a second half team. I always say it. We're a second half team. But yeah, Julius Randle, 32 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks. Um, Only 3 turnovers. A little bit low for Julius, you know.
those rebounds at the end, man, were cuts, man. He was in there throwing his body around and stuff. That was the key. In the beginning, it was just like a repeat of the Orlando game, repeat of the Toronto game, the
Right.
repeat of the other game that we lost. It was all the same thing. They all just punching us in our face and just running us over. So that's exactly what the Bucks were doing. But that some I don't know what happened, but something clicked, and I guess the game plan, like I said, and the rebounds, everything that we were missing in the beginning, all came back out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
I think the the biggest thing that happened, obviously Julius had a huge game. He was 11 for 22 from the field, 3 of 9 from the 3 point line. But we wouldn't have done any of this had it not been for Derrick Rose. And
Absolutely.
Derrick Rose is, to me, he gets the game ball. Um, 23 points, 4 assists, 8 rebounds, 2 steals. You can't ask for a better game than that. And the way he did it, and the moments he did it, it was just timely buckets after timely bucket, and that's become more of the norm that we're used to with Derrick Rose here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what jumps out at me is that one free throw. He only got one free throw. As many times he hit the floor today, they was throwing him on the floor like crazy.
They weren't
So
calling anything tonight. They were
nah,
letting a lot of stuff fly. They were letting a lot of stuff fly, man.
yeah, I like it though. I miss that old physical basketball where the referee's not dictating the pace of the game and stuff.
Yeah, man, and that's the kind of basketball we kind of grew up on. You know what I mean? And that's it's the the rise in free throws by these players. You're starting to see these guys that are superstars are averaging 10 less points per game now. You know what I mean? Practically, because they're not at the free throw line.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And that's, especially as a Knick fan. we're used to coming in the game knowing that we're gonna have to play against the other team and the refs. You know what I'm saying? So to me, this is the game we're used to at this point. You know, when they don't make certain calls, it's like kind of used to it. The rest of the league is not used to it though. You know what I mean? Shout out to the chat. Tune already said what up. Yer, what's going on? Xavier, what's going on? Tune said this win in the Henny got me feeling right. Listen, bro, I'm right with you. I'm right.
I gotta get me some Hennessy, man. God damn. I
It's
got the
not Henny.
stale. I got the
I got.
stale beer. Yeah.
Oh, they can't have stale big. God,
Ah,
that's some Crown Apple. You know, my people know that's my go-to. I love Crown. Cody, what's going on, Cody? He says, great second half. Randall had a huge second half. Weak first, but that second half was clutch. He needed that. He definitely needed that. Um, Julius Randle has been
Dante. I'm looking ahead at Dante. Dante
uh,
Rollins there.
Dante. You know, Dante's gonna talk his trash.
Yeah, yeah.
Y'all
I'm familiar
smiles
with
piss
Dante,
me off.
man.
Y'all smiles piss me off. He doesn't like it. We win, but you know, like I always say, he's here. He's here, man. He's here. But
Mhm.
Julius definitely needed that second half, Cody. I don't know, something had to click at some point where he was like, all right, Giannis is here, is in the building. Okay, cool. It's time to play up. And that's one thing that I'll give Julius. When there's a star in the building, he'll play up to it. But my issue has been when there isn't a star in the building. Is he going to play down to the competition? And you know, you see, he kind of does that. He comes in, he kind of expects to just have a good game. And sometimes you got to go in there and you got to play like he did tonight and just go all the way in. You know what I'm saying? So say it, hey, Dante, see, he loves
Yeah,
it.
man. Get the likes up, man. The likes
He
is like
loves it.
putting a dime in a bucket, man. You know, just give it.
Yeah,
Hit the likes, bro.
hit those hit those likes, man. Pay us with a like. And
Yeah.
Cody said, "Got to be Crown." That's all I said. Yeah, man. Yo, Crown. Since day one. Since day one. I've been a Crown fan. That's just my go-to every single time. My second was Honey Jack. Love Honey
Honey
Jack.
Jack. Yeah, I used to like Honey
Uh,
Jack too, man.
it's
I'm a
good.
big whiskey guy actually, man. But whiskey is
Mhm.
problematic because it gives you courage. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
well,
saying?
that's what this right here is a whiskey. So I gotta be careful,
Yeah.
especially after a win. You know, I get a little crazy.
Well, I want to ask you about the narratives. You know, the last 2 days has been, last two games has been disgusting. You know, on Twitter, if you follow me the Knicks on Twitter, like
Hmm.
everybody's going crazy. They're killing Randall about not passing it to Julius. He might be jealous of RJ and all this other
Okay.
stuff.
Hmm.
So after a win like this, the way that we won this game, in the manner in which we did it, we did it as a team. You know, everybody was high fiving each other.
Right.
You know, it
Definitely.
was so physical and stuff. Even Bobby Portis had to give Julius Randall a pound. You remember that play? I think it was Bobby Portis fouled Julius Randle, and then he turned around. They both gave each other a pound and shit.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's how like competitive it was, man. But
yeah.
like after like I said, after the last couple of days, what's your what like how does that all play into it now? You know?
I'm gonna be honest. I was a little concerned at first, and it was only because I just felt like Julius. I was saying it before during the game. You win most improved player. You put up numbers that not many of the guys have ever done. You get a couple MVP votes. You automatically want to, all right, keep with that upward trajectory. You know what I mean? You want to keep going, keep getting better. And this year, there's more weapons on the team. Um, the ball doesn't swing to him as often as it did last year, and I'm sure it's a little frustrating. You know what I mean? And I understand. At the same time, you have to be a team player. But what we have been seeing is Julius hasn't gone away from being a team player. He does make selfish plays every now and then. But then again, like when we were in the garden, you and I were in the garden when we opened the night. There was a particular play where Kemba came down and coach directed him. He said, "Hey, give it to Julius," because that's what they want him to do. You know, they want to go to him down the stretch, and sometimes it's annoying for us to see. And we're sitting there, you know, the whole game we're sitting like, why does Julius keep getting the ball? You know what I mean? But that's the game plan, you know, and they ended up winning that game, so we complained for no reason. But
Yeah.
you know, but go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna add to that. Like they keep giving him the ball, but I was like on I do like I do halftime to crunch time during the game.
Mhm.
So from
Yeah,
halftime to crunch time, I do my little commentary. So anyway, what I was saying is that every time Julius Randle gets the ball, he gets it way too high.
yeah,
Say like he gets it like almost by the 3 point line. So
mhm,
then now he's facing up and doing all these in and out moves and stuff. His bread and butter is if he can get 1 foot on the line there in the paint. If he can
right,
get 1 foot on the paint, he'll be
mhm,
he'll be able to make a better play,
yeah,
especially for his own offense. So it
mhm,
drives me crazy. He'll bring the ball up the court, cross the half court line and everything. Now he's fighting to get to that spot. There should be like that's all Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau should have somebody come up, receive the ball, let Julius Randle get in position, and then let him get it back.
yeah.
So that
That
drives
should
me
be
crazy.
right. You should that should be the same thing that Shaq and Chuck were saying when we were playing the 76ers. They were saying the same thing about Joel Embiid. They said, look where he's getting the ball. He's getting the ball all the way up here. You can't show me your dominant center in this league and you're getting it all the way out there. And you want to
Yeah,
try to play in the post, and then it's so easy to get double team while you're out there. I think what you made a great point. That should be the secondary in that play. Get the play going at the top of the key, and behind closed doors, you see Julius setting up in the post. This way, he doesn't have to fight to get all the way down there. Now, what are you going to do when you see Julius in the post? The moment you give the ball to him, you're going to double him. You have to. You can't
right.
wait like you do when he's on the wing in the post. He's in the post. You have to double him, especially if he's on somebody that he's going to overpower, which is a lot of guys. Julius very strong. I see strong guys struggle with Julius. So you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I applaud Julius for doing what he did today and staying with it and not um resorting to those old habits that he does sometimes, and sticking with it, and still allowing guys around him to have good games, and touch the ball. And RJ, his fifth straight 20-point game tonight, and that's something that we haven't seen ever. I mean, clearly it's his first time ever getting five straight 20-point games, and this is starting to look like more of the same for RJ. How did you feel about RJ's play tonight? Especially with Julius having the kind of game that he had.
Oh shit, I still got my screen. I'm sorry about that. But
No, you good.
this guy RJ, yeah, I felt he was feeling himself a little bit today. I enjoy him scoring, like the manner in which he's scoring. He's getting the ball and making the move. Like what's been killing him, even from last year, is that he would disappear so many times in the quarter. Like that first game, he disappeared a lot. He's playing good
Yeah.
defense, but he disappears because he has a shot, but he doesn't take it. So
Hmm.
now the difference is he'll get it, he'll see that he can make a move, and he'll make the move. So
Right.
that's the next evolution of it. But today he missed a lot of real easy chippy layups, man. Like maybe
Hmm.
3 feet from the basket.
Yeah.
Instead of just laying it up or going strong, he was looking for the referees to bail him out, or doing a floater when he should just lay it up strong. So that's another thing that he needs to figure out too, because now he's starting to get the taste of blood, of being that
Yeah.
scorer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now he has to understand, what shots are going to come to him now, because they are going to come to him. They're there, they're available.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing about RJ. RJ is he's starting to feel it out a little bit more. He's starting to get comfortable with it. But like you said, those easy layups, he's got to convert those. You can't look for the ref. You can't look for the foul. I think the last one he missed, I think it was a right-handed one. And he fell, all the way out of bounds. And I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, you're not gonna get that call anymore. You just gotta muscle up. You gotta muscle up and get in there. You're stronger than all of the guys that's guarding you. Don't depend on the whistle. Go in there, get your bucket. Simple. You're strong enough to do it. Any other time he puts his head down and he goes to the basket, what happens? Layup, especially within the past couple games. And that's been the difference really with RJ is finishing at the basket. He's finally getting to the basket and finishing. He's never had a problem getting there. It's finishing at the basket, that wiggle and the adjustment while you're in the air, depending on the player that's guarding you. He's finally taking that big step into learning how to make big plays when it's needed. You know what I mean? Not just I'm gonna make a big play here or there. And there's also one thing about RJ that I've noticed, and it's also RJ and Derek. They're not afraid to take a shot with somebody closing out on them. And these
Yeah.
are guys who are notoriously known as good 3-point shooters. But every single time you get the ball out to RJ and he's at the 3 point line, he's shooting that damn thing. He does not care who's closing out. He's pulling out, pulling up. And that's one thing I don't mind. That sometimes it's like, all right, he's missing it, but at least he's not scared. That's one thing I don't like seeing in any player on any of the teams that I've played on and I've watched play. I can't stand when the shooter is scared to shoot. If that's what you're gonna do, shoot the ball. Don't head fake and then throw it out to somebody else, especially when you don't have the shot creation and off the dribble. And that's part of the reason why, as much as I loved Reggie last year, it was frustrating, especially in the beginning. But it's good to have guys like Evan out there now who's starting to get comfortable with these guys, and Kemba. Kemba's shot wasn't really falling tonight. He was 2 for 8. Only had 5 points. Fournier had 7 points. There's one thing we're starting to realize is when Emba, I literally just now mixed both of their names up. Evan and Kemba.
Yeah.
Um, if once one of them's having a bad game, the other's having a bad game. Like they usually have bad games or good games together, and it's weird how that happens. I think it's just chemistry, you know what I mean. But I think it's also the amount of time that they play on the floor together. They do play a lot together, and
Yeah.
if one of them isn't shooting well, then usually the coach likes to pull them. But what about Evan and Kevin?
Evan and Kemba. It's a tongue twister.
Kemba.
It's a literal
Oh
tongue
my
twister.
God. Is it
Yeah.
is it the crown? What the hell's going on here? But what
Nah.
about those two guys, Fournier and Walker? Let's do that.
If anybody wants to argue about anybody getting iced out, is them two, because there was a point in the game where we ran like four straight pick and rolls, and we were looking for Mitchell Robinson, and then
Mhm.
right if that wasn't working, then we would started going for looking for Obi with these alley oops. And you got Fournier in the corner, not getting the ball, and you got Kemba Walker on the other side, not getting the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that they need to do something with these guys, man, because we got them. We spent the money on Fournier. We went and we got Kemba Walker here, and we're not utilizing those guys properly. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So while they're in the game, we should not be looking for Mitchell Robinson for alley oops. Because it's not like Mitchell Robinson is Shaq or anything like that. If anything, Mitchell Robinson, he can't even set a proper pick, man. How many times did he get called for illegal defense or illegal screen tonight?
That happened a couple times tonight.
Yeah, man. So I mean, like the in order to crack this code that we have here with the chemistry, we got to figure out a way to get Kemba off early, and then we
Right.
got to figure out a way to get Fournier in his spots the way that he was in the beginning of the year with Boston. That Boston game, he was open all over the place.
Right.
So I mean, there's definitely something that we have to figure out there. And to me, I don't think it's going to be RJ and Randall. That dynamic, I don't understand why everybody was complaining so much. The last 2 days, last 4 days actually.
Yeah.
About RJ and Randall. The real key to the Knicks getting better is in the backcourt, starting backcourt, and that's Evan and Kemba. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I agree. They have to play well. Um, if Derrick Rose didn't have a big game tonight, we lose. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yep.
And one of your guards has to have a big game. You just have to. You know what I mean? You can't have your starting backcourt having a struggling game, and then your backup backcourt having a struggling game. So Derrick Rose saved us, man. That's why he gets the game ball to me. Um, but speaking of that second unit, Obi Obi was out there for 14 minutes. He was 1 for 5, 4 for 4 from the free throw line. He had 6 points, 2 fouls, 2 rebounds. But it's odd because sometimes, even though he looks like he's not doing much out there on the stat sheet, his game kind of speaks a lot more to what's going on because he's just active. You know what I mean? Whether it's on the defensive end, he had a block tonight. Um, he also had a nice alley oop from Derrick Rose on a broken play. But him and quickly tonight he was 4 for 9. He finally got it going. He started to see in the shot fall and he started driving to the basket. And that's what we need. We need these two guys to, especially when they're on the court together, have a bit of chemistry. Manuel Quickly's got to hit his shot. He's 1 for 3 from 3 point line. I'll take it. You know what I mean? Until he starts getting, comfortable with what he's going to be doing, I think he has to have a lot of. I think there's a lot of rest that ties into it as well. I think he works out and trains so much that he doesn't allow his body to rest and to just receive what's going on sometimes. But I, I, those are the kind of problems I want on my team. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
want guys to be tired because they worked out too much, on their own accord.
Yeah, yo, Emmanuel quickly is one of those guys. You got to leave the belt on the door, just so they can see it, because he's always acting up. So listen, just put the belt there just to remind him. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
That
yeah. Just to let you
he's like a
know,
busybody. Yeah,
he's always doing something. But yeah, and Alec Burks, he took one shot tonight. It looks like Alec Burks is trying to be a defender.
yeah. Me and State were arguing about that because State, hates Burke and stuff, but
Yeah.
his role is way different than it was last year. Last year he was a closer at some point. He was a point guard at some point of the season. But this year I feel like he literally is taking the role of that defender. So I mean,
Yeah.
like even though he only attempted one shot, he didn't do anything offensively in that way. I felt like he still played a good game though.
4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, um, three fouls. He was out there. He plus 15 on the. He doesn't have to score to be effective playing that way. So
Yeah. The
that's
way that we were locking up the paint, keeping Giannis out, he was a big part of that cog
yeah,
there,
yeah,
keeping that lane closed.
for sure. And he's taking pride in being that wing defender off the bench in a way because we don't really have one outside of I guess anyone on the bench. I mean, besides for Grimes, but how much can he prove that he's on the a defender on the NBA level? But I'm excited to see how well these guys continue to gel, especially with Noel coming back, and he also had a good game. He had a block, a huge block in there, 3 steals. The guy was in there. He was in all of them lanes. The pick from around the around their back, 13 rebounds. So as I should say, the second unit. How important do you think the way they played tonight was to how we won or finished the game, especially in that second half?
Well, I forgot why what Nerlens Noel does for us. He has no size to him. Him and Obi Toppin they basically wear the same dress size. Him and Obi Toppin. You know what I'm saying? They have no weight to them. But the thing about Nerlens Noel, he'll throw his body all over the place. How many times did he get hit in his neck tonight? In his chest,
Yeah,
slams
yeah,
to the floor. He's throwing his body onto people. All
mhm,
these 13 rebounds that he got with his body banging into another body.
right, yeah.
So he's very important to what we do. But man, he can't catch, bro. How many times they throw in the ball and he just straight up just can't catch a basketball? Oh
It's
my,
terrible, and
mind boggling.
I don't want to be that guy every single game who tweets about Nerlens Noel, but it's frustrating to see how often you can fumble the ball. It's just
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense to me.
like we have kids, man. So like you teach your kids, if you can't catch, at least knock it down. That
Yeah,
the ball hits him in his hands and it just crumbles.
he's got the hands from the guy of Scary Movie too. Take my strong hand. He's
Yeah,
got he's it's weird, but he had a I think the first play he had he had an alley oop from I think it was Derrick Rose. He threw him a nice alley. Yeah, that's messed up, man.
yeah, it's messed up. I was trying not to do it again, but I mean, it's crazy.
Oh man, it's crazy. Um, but he's effective. He's effective. Like you said, he was getting bounced around in there like a ping pong. It was kind of crazy, but he still came out with 13 rebounds. And did what he had to do out there on the boards. But the fumbles, they threw him the ball, he loses it. I think he had like 2 turnovers just off of not catching the ball. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And they were
It,
momentum killers too. The Knicks were actually going good, and when he
right,
did that, it killed momentum.
right. But I'm not gonna complain. I'm not gonna complain. We won the game. It worked out. It worked out. Let's head back to the chat real quick and see what we were talking about. It's been a while since I looked at the chat, guys. So if I'm a little bit late with this stuff, please understand. Um, Cody said RJ had an off night and still had 20. Yeah, it's that is something that we're getting used to seeing.
Yeah,
Quiet 20s from RJ. You know what I mean? And whew, once he
consistent
starts
20s. Yeah,
consistent 20s, and there's gonna be some games now. So the 20 point per game RJ thing is possible. It's really possible. There's gonna be some games where he has 13, but there's gonna be some games where he has 30. You know what I mean? And he's gonna have a lot of games around the 20-point mark, 22, 23, getting to the free throw line. I'm assuming he's gonna learn how to get to the free throw line more often, especially with the adjustment. If he's gonna play through contact and finish the way he needs to, and he's strong enough to do it, I think he can, you know, up his free throw shooting average.
Yeah, that's the key because the referees are not going to call a foul if you're not going strong.
Right.
If you go in there, expecting a foul, you're not going to get it. So you have
Yep.
to earn that respect from the refs.
Nah. They I'm happy. I'm happy it's happening, but it's about time that everyone in the league felt what we were dealing with for a long time. Um, Xavier Marshall said they've been doing that since Fizdale. Why is he bringing up the ball? He can save his energy and get the ball in the low post / mid range. Yeah, Julius. I don't know. I think that was I think we said that before. Fizdale really put the ball in Julius's hands and made him believe he was a guard. And ever since then, it's kind of like he never got it out of his mind. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I'm playing point forward. That's what I'm doing.
yeah, it's a
Um,
good skill, man, because nobody else in the league could do it. But we talked about it earlier. Is it like he's bringing up the ball up the court and then trying to get position while he's dribbling up the court? That's crazy. Then if he's gonna do that, if the play is to get Julius Randle in the post, he needs to give the ball up and get it back.
right, right.
This, he shouldn't be dribbling into his own post position. That's crazy.
And the key is to being able to maximize the potential you have with Julius Randle. If Julius Randle is out there for 38 minutes, if you're going to play him for 38 minutes, you don't want him to have to handle the ball for 38 minutes.
Right.
Now, what we're starting to see, especially in a game like tonight, he can play 38 minutes and dish it off here and there. I mean, if this was last year, Julius probably would have had 40 plus points tonight. And that's just because there wasn't that many guys for him to go to, so he had to just do everything. But now he can relax. He can be and that's the thing. That's the trade-off. You might not have the ball in your hands all the time, and you might not get the accolades you want, but the game will be a lot easier too because now there's so much more help on your team that there's going to be moments where or plays you can completely not have to worry about making a play out of that play. And you got RJ there, you got Derrick Rose, you got Kemba, you got Evan, and that's the beauty of this team is having the depth that we have, and that's it's just something that we haven't seen in a long time. Tune said Kemba has to wake up. Yeah, we're still waiting. We're still waiting for him. It's. I think he's still getting used to being in New York and the teammates and all that. And I also think he's just not trying to step on toes because he's just such a nice guy. He's really a nice guy. You know what I mean? Even when crazy stuff happens on the court, he like smiles it off in a way. You know what I mean? Kind of like the mellow thing. But yeah, he's I think he'll get it. I think Kemba's gonna get it. He just needs some time, especially at the point guard position. As we always say when we're talking about quickly, it's the most difficult position in the NBA. So, it's not like he hasn't done it, but he hasn't done it on this team yet. So we'll see. Because he has to also satisfy the players and also satisfy the coach. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Obi is a glue guy, but I still need more. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Obi cannot continue to play at this level for the entire season. And I don't think he will. He showed us last year that he will make improvements during the season. I just want to see what those improvements are. Does that improvement mean that you're going to be a 8 point, 4 rebound, 1 assist player, 1 block? I'll take that because that means that there's some games where you have 15 and there's some games where you have 5. But as long as you have a good amount of 15-point games where you can average closer to 10 points instead of the 5 points, I think just a 3-digit jump, would suit Obi well. How about you? How you feel about Obi?
Well, Obi for me is all about physicality. A guy like Nerlens, like I said, he's throwing his body around and stuff like that. He doesn't have the strength, but at least he knows, the art of, just positioning, getting, just throwing his body around. Obi Toppin doesn't do that. Everything
Right.
that Toppin does is kind of like finessing. I'm not going to accuse him of ever not playing hard. Obi Toppin is playing hard, but there's a difference between his position being physical out there, helping out the team, because him being physical could help another guy get a rebound.
Right.
But if Obi Toppin's just jumping around, if he misses the rebound, he's out of position. He doesn't help his team get the rebound. So
Yeah,
he needs to help physically with that. So I don't know if he's ever going to be able to do that. Like you said, he does improve throughout the year. So I'm hoping that through teaching and stuff like that, they help him to understand what he needs to do in his role. But that's
right.
definitely missing out there, especially when that second unit comes in. We're missing physicality.
I think he depends too much on his athleticism, and I think that's his downfall sometimes. I think if, like you said, he's a little bit more physical. Let me box out a little bit more, and let me not be afraid to get in there and just not try to jump over him. Let me body him for the rebound. And I think him learning how to be a little bit more physical, I think it'll do his game well. But we'll see. It's still early, but we'll definitely see when it comes to Obi. Um, Shout out to how do you say it? Nudie 25.
I call him Andy. I see him on my
Andy,
show too. Yeah, I call
what's
him
going
Andy.
on, man? You in the building. Shout out to you, man. Xavier Marshall says I think Rose can unlock Evan and Kemba, run the pick and pop with Randall. Tibbs got to mix it up sometimes. Glad we got the win. Yeah, for sure. It's Tibbs. We're gonna be doing this every year when it comes to Tibbs. It seems that that's his main weakness. It's the only thing that he hasn't seemed to change much from year to year. But you
Shit,
know,
from game to game, man.
in the game, I mean, but if you look at it, like what was it? 2 minutes left in the game, and I was talking. I was watching the game with a few of my friends, and they were talking about at the point of the game. I said, "Yeah, get him out the game." They took Giannis out the game. They're starting units out the game. Let the young guys get some run. I said, but I'm talking about Tibbs, so I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping,
Yeah, but
but
not for nothing. At the 10-minute mark, when Obi and those guys were out there, we had to take them out.
yeah,
Because they weren't giving us anything on the inside. But as soon as they brought Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson at that point, that's when the Knicks really started to unfold and really start to
right.
really lock these guys down at that 10-minute mark. But
Mhm.
that's not good, man. If our starters are coming in with 10 minutes left, that's so much more game left, and you're tiring your guys out. Now
Facts.
they have to be in there for 10 full minutes, and that's not good.
Well, one thing I realized is he's starting to cherish RJ a little bit more in a way that even though he's still playing Julius a lot of minutes, Julius and the other guys came in around that 10-minute mark, like you said. And I don't think RJ came in until about 7 or 8 or
Yeah,
something like that. But it didn't happen until I think it was a few plays in a row where Julius just tried to get it going and nothing came out of it, and they made a play on the other end. It was like he put RJ in right away because I don't I don't want to say this the wrong way. RJ plays the game smarter than Julius Randle does. More with his IQ. Julius Randle's more of the let me get it going ISO and then create a play out of it. RJ more kind of looks for his teammates to start it off, and then he might be the last line of offense or the defense, whatever it is. But he struggled a few plays here and there. I think it was 2 plays in a row, and then he put RJ right back in around that 7 to 8 minute mark. It was kind of like he tried to let them get as much running as they could without RJ, because of the gravity of RJ. But then he was like, I got to get RJ in because we're not getting anything right now.
yeah.
And put RJ in, and it kind of opened up the floor a little bit. So I just like I said last show, these guys just need a little bit more time. They're getting it. They're beating the teams that they should beat. They're struggling with these other teams. I'm not gonna lie. The Raptors and who did we play last game? Um,
I don't even remember, man, because I was so mad at losing those two games. I don't even remember who we played.
Pacers. The Pacers.
Yeah,
The
Pacers. Yeah,
Pacers, which was an anomaly because Miles Turner's not gonna hit 7 threes every game. You know what I mean? He's just not gonna hit 7 threes every game. And also, it was like every three he hit would like counted as two, and then momentum shifted every single time he hit one. But that's in the past. Thank God, and we won the next game versus a better team.
right.
Um, so he said, Cody says 2023, 23, 22 is the mark next year, if not this year for RJ. He told me he wanted 20. I told him I wanted 25 for him. He laughed and said maybe. Listen, I'll take either of them because it's a huge improvement from last year. Um, because we all want to see RJ make these improvements and start getting the respect he deserves. But 23, 25, any of those numbers per game, I mean, sign me up. I'm here. I'm here. I wouldn't complain about that.
Yeah, he would have had 28 tonight if he didn't miss those layups. He would have had 28.
Yeah, he definitely would have had 28.
Yeah.
It's cool. Uh Kemba is really doing big things for us. Is just not showing up in the stats. That's true. That's true as well. Um, he's definitely making the right plays. He's just missing a lot of shots. He's not making any selfish plays. He's still defending as good as he can for his size. I think that's a lot of the issue with him. He's undersized. But I don't know. I don't know what the issue is. Obi doesn't like contact. That's clear. He wants to be a wing, and I mean it. Listen, for him to be productive, if he has to play some sort of a wing, maybe we do play a little bit of a bigger lineup when you have him at the three and then you push RJ to the two.
Or we need to make a move to upgrade that position because it's clear that we actually need Kevin Knox and Obi to make a baby. Actually, we need them to be put together in one player and make a baby. Because whatever offensively that Kevin Knox can do, we need that. But we also need the effort that Obi Toppin has. But put them together, maybe they can give us a little bit more physicality. So we need a player that combined those two guys. And then I think that's our Achilles heel because a lot of times Obi ends up in the corner. If Knox comes in, Knox is going to hit those threes, but Knox is not going to give us nothing else.
No, he's not.
So yeah, we gotta figure that out. Well,
Yeah.
you missed a couple things that Cody was saying here about the he was saying something about Draymond Green.
Oh yeah.
This yeah, that there's a lot of point forwards out there. It is kind of normal, but the what makes Julius Randle different than those guys is that he has that handle. Like Draymond Green is not dribbling up the ball like Julius Randle. So
Not,
we
yeah,
do have to clean that up though.
hitting step backs and stuff like that. Yeah, he's not hitting that yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish that they would put him in better positions the way that Draymond is. Draymond is always in a good position to make a basketball play. So we have to figure that out with Julius Randle. Get him in a spot where he can make a good basketball play.
Right. Kemba is doing what I expected, being a veteran mentor and solid player. He's not a star anymore. He's a hype man for this team off the bench as well. Yeah, and that's what I love to see. Especially when you come on this team that played well and
Pause.
played together. Pause. When you join this team that played well and played together last year, I forgot who I was on the show with today.
Yeah, man, you can't come on the team, man. You know what I'm saying? You gotta figure out something else to say. Oh man. So anyway,
Don't come on my team. Anyway, when you join the team, when you join the team, you kind of don't want to step on any toes. In the first, when you're a player like Julius Randle or RJ Barrett or anyone who was here, and you see the new guy jumping off the bench, being the first guy to cheer, it kind of makes you feel well, especially missing Theo Pinson. Shout out to him, by the way. Wasn't today his birthday? But today was Theo Pinson's birthday.
oh
So
really? Happy
yeah,
birthday, Theo.
shout out to Theo. Once a Nick, always a Nick. Especially Theo, because and people who don't know the importance of Theo Pinson, you don't know basketball. I'm sorry, you just don't know basketball. Um, Cody also said he wants to be an athletic freak. He is, but he's at a role that involves contact. Yeah, we're talking about Obi again. It's he's learning how to use his strengths in a way, but it's just taking. I don't know. I don't know if it's taking a toll on the offense because coach clearly doesn't like to play him a lot, which is weird because he definitely did well
It's the physicality. I think that's what
in
it
the
is.
postseason. Yeah, and honestly, we started to see a little bit more of it during the summer league, and that's what we wanted to see out of Obi. But what were we saying? He's playing against younger guys who probably won't be on an NBA roster. So of course he's gonna look like a monster at that point. So but maybe he gets in the gym. Maybe he starts to. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to harp too much on what's going on with Obi. He usually figures it out.
He just got to throw his body around, man. He's got to just like neuronas. He got to just throw his body around. A lot of times he could have secured a play a little bit better. Also, too, like there was another play where he should have scored on a fast break, but he turned around and gave it to, I think it was Julius.
No,
But
RJ.
Giannis,
Oh my
he
god.
gave it to RJ, right? But well, freaking Giannis is right behind him.
Right. Yeah.
So the right play was for Obi to get it and hit it.
And
Hit the
finish.
deck hard and then just go up.
Yeah. Finish. And it was a bad play. You in a fast break for you to pass to someone who's behind you when there wasn't someone in front of you. Like he didn't have anyone in front of him. The guy was in between them, but it wasn't
Yeah.
like he was in front of him. You know what I mean? So there was no clear path to RJ. Like you didn't have to give it to RJ. I feel like you had just as much of a chance to make a layup as RJ did,
Yeah, and
especially
if
you
you
being
play,
the more athletic player.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If you're a basketball player, you're athletic and this, that, and the other. You know that's your basket to make.
Yeah.
If there's one guy in front, that's easy for anybody. Anybody that plays basketball, that one person in front, that's easy to get past them. One side step and just make the layup. That's what they train you when you play. Just go extremely hard on the fast break and do like that because the defender is already on their heels, so they can't do anything.
Right. Right. Exactly. Um. A few more. Andy, like you said, his name. He said, "Do you guys feel Julius is struggling the most, or do you guys feel is struggling? Who do you guys feel is struggling the most adapting to the new teammates?" I, like I said, I think it has to be Julius at this point. Everyone else knows their role. Uh, I think with Kemba and Evan, well, with Evan more, it's just he's missing shots. Kemba, it's between. I'd say Julius and Kemba. Julius is struggling the most to adapt. Yes, he is talking about Julius. Okay, yes.
Yeah,
So yeah, I would say Julius is definitely struggling to adapt um to the new teammates. Like I said, he's someone who was getting MVP votes, whether rather it was one or two, however many it was. It was enough for him to say, "Hey, this is the kind of player I can be." So let me go do that. And it's hard to do that when you're on a team with RJ and Kemba and Evan that can put the ball in the basket more help than you had last year. Um, but I think it's frustrating for him. But I also think it's a long season. I don't think Julius was scoring crazy all last year either. I think that he still um, progressed throughout the season. I think it's the same for this season. I think he's gonna just keep getting better. I think he's gonna learn how to adjust. The chemistry is gonna get better. These guys don't dislike each other. They love each other. The energy is always good between the guys. Sometimes they hang their heads. Sometimes they don't get back on defense. Sometimes they throw their hands but the body language that I've been looking for, I don't see. So I know that they actually like each other. I think it's just a chemistry issue, and I think
yeah,
they'll figure it out. I think they'll figure it out, especially once um it's solidified what role it is. I forgot who it was said Kemba's role is he's a bench guy. He's not a bench guy. Sorry, not a bench guy. He's just not the main guy anymore. You know what I mean? He's here for the hype
yeah.
man off the bench and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's not really a starter. He's just a beginner. He's like what I'm saying. I forgot what somebody said it.
There you go.
He is a starter, but he is not a starter. He is just like the guy that just sets the table for
Starts the
whatever.
game.
Because
Right.
yeah, he starts the game, but he's not necessarily the starter kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well,
And
what I was gonna add with what you were saying about with Andy here, who's struggling the most, whatever. I think is Tom Thibodeau, and like you hinted on it also too with just the roles and stuff with everybody. I think
right.
Tom Thibodeau he has to remember that Bullock and Alfred are not there. It's Kemba and
Right.
Fournier. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So the ball needs to come to those guys at some point too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's something that he needs to find adjustments in there because I mentioned before, like we were going to Mitch and Obi for alley oops when we got two guys that score 17 each a game for the last 5 years.
And
So
that's because to Tibbs, his easy basket is the alley. Like
right,
that's his go-to easy play. There's no other play in this playbook where he can go to it where he's like, all right, I know I'm gonna get a basket out of this. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's and I think that's an issue that we have to address early because teams will figure that out. They're gonna figure it out soon. Like, hey, listen, they don't have many go-to plays here or there. Um, we have to find more plays for guys like RJ Like and it can't just be a pick and roll every single time.
Yeah,
Like there has to be more action. There has to, like you said earlier, um, there has to maybe someone makes a play on the ball, and at the same time, Julius is setting up in the post. Like let's see some more action going on where it's not just set up the pick and roll and alley oop to Mitch because maybe that'll work. But people know you're gonna
yeah.
go for that.
Then you got guys in the corner just sitting there. We can't play that way. Like
And then that,
yeah, well, say like they was running a play with Kemba, right, where they had Mitch Roberts setting the pick.
mhm,
That's a disaster to begin with. But anyway, like once Mitch makes the pick, instead of running the simple pick and roll, they need to make Kemba roll, but send Mitch to the corner, to pick whoever's in the corner, make the person in the corner cut to the basket. I think that's something that they need to do, because what's the point of having Fournier is a good three-point shooter, but to have him come baseline, will be great too, because it's just the same thing as like an alley oop, except to me it's just better, because if you send that guy in the corner down to receive the ball, then he has an opportunity to get the other guy in the corner.
right,
So
right.
yeah, I mean, anyway, this we were saying the same thing. It's just that we need to get some active movement going on out there, something other than wait in the corner for the ball to come to you.
Right.
Something else needs to happen.
Something else got to happen. But we've been saying it since Tibbs was hired here, and they just hired a new player to a person to their staff, their analytics staff. So I think they're looking to improve the offense. I think there's certain things that they're trying to do. Tibbs is looking for the help, and I'll give
Yeah,
him that because he's obviously not able to make that adjustment himself. But it's on you to go outward and figure out the things. One of the things that they talked about with Mark Jackson when he was the coach of the Warriors was, yeah, great defensive coach, but if you're struggling offensively, get some guys in here who's going to help you run some better offense. And I think because he didn't want to do that, that led to what happened there. But obviously you saw that they just needed a few tweaks. The next year they won a championship.
right.
Um, so I think it's just that simple. I think these guys just need a few tweaks, adding certain players staff to your analytics staff, and that helps you. That really does help you. um John from Still Knicks fans, going on, man? How you doing? Knicks Nation, smash that like button, please do, please. Salute Apollo and Eru, dope convo, great conversation, fellas. Appreciate you for being here, man. Appreciate you for being here. He also says, how do we match up against Cleveland on Sunday? Cleveland is a tricky team. They are a tricky team. Didn't they squeeze one out versus both LA teams?
Yeah, they've been playing pretty good, man.
I'm that's those are one of those teams that'll scare you. Colin Sexton's out there, he's doing his thing. Darius Garland as well. Um, Jared Allen is Jared Allen. They're not better than us. They're not on our level, but they're a team that will catch us sleeping because we walk into buildings and think we're gonna walk into a victory. So the matchup, I don't think it's a tough matchup at all. I think the match up will be in intensity, and I think whoever has the most intensity will win that game. Especially when you're talking about somebody like Colin Sexton.
Yo, man, but they beat
Mo-
Toronto tonight, man. They beat Toronto 102 to 101. So these guys are they working. You can't sleep on these guys. You
And
know,
Toronto
I,
beat us.
yeah, Toronto plays hard, hard nosed defense, man. So it definitely was a battle. Yo, this guy Jared Allen, he had 16 and 15. Evan Mobley had 18 and 5. Whatever. Garland had 21. Sexton, did 9 and 5. Osman off the bench had 17. Rubio had 11 off the bench. So I mean, they got some players over there, man.
I think it'll. I think it'll be more like tonight. Our bench has to play well. You know what I mean? I think that's the key to us winning any of these games. I think all of the games that we lost, our bench didn't play well. You know what I mean? I think it's just that simple. You got quickly that's not going off, doing what he's supposed to do, what you expect him to do. Rose struggled for a little bit. Obi was, tinkering between effectiveness and not being effective on the offensive end at least. You gotta go in there with intensity versus these kind of teams. They are not on our level, but they are on the level like the Raptors. And you saw what the Raptors did from tip off. They came in
Right.
there and they went right for our necks. Same thing as the Pacers. So we can't go in here and take these games for granted, take these players for granted that are not championship players or all stars. If you think that the NBA is not the NBA and you go in there and think you're just going to win, you got a long season ahead of you. Um, what else we got? I feel after who's that? Andy feel after All Star break there will be a problem. Yeah, I think that's usually I think that happened last year after the All Star break. It just went crazy. They just went on, and I think that's what we needed. We needed to tinker with. And Tom is a very very smart guy. What he does is he doesn't give you one plan all season. He kind of gives you a book, kind of like Derrick Rose says gives you a book, and then there's chapters. This point of the season, this is what we're gonna work on, and then we're gonna move to the next chapter, and then the next chapter, and then the next chapter, and that's why you see the development that we've seen in the past couple or the past year with Tom Thibodeau is because that's how he handles it. We're gonna attack these things one by one, and we're not gonna move on to the next chapter until you finish the chapter before. He needs a book on rotations. But
It's like the Dead Sea Scrolls, man. They stole it and buried it from him, man. His rotation.
he's been trying to find it. He's been trying to find it, man. He's like, "Oh, ice!" Like I don't know. He's going to scream at everybody. There was one play I saw him yelling at the ref, and I said, "Boy, you gotta relax because I would have text you up just for how your face looked." You know what I mean? And he had like the flex. And I was like, yo, is he flexing on this guy? Yeah, Tom's got to relax. He's really got to chill.
I don't know how he's made it this far, man. He's got to have like high blood pressure out the. Well, he's losing his hair. In the beginning of the year, it wasn't like that. In the beginning, when he first came to the Knicks, his hair is getting crazy now in the front.
Well, I mean, he's not married. So
Yeah.
all he's got time to do is play basketball. So I guarantee you, if he had anything else to worry about, he would have had some kind of health issue a long time ago because the way he gets on the side of the court, it's just I'm like, bro,
He never sits down.
he doesn't ever sit down. He never sits down and he never stops yelling. I know for a fact when you're a ref in this league and you come out and like I gotta coach the Knicks, like damn Tom's gonna be there. He's gonna be in my ear all night long. And like, yo, I got the other side. I'm gonna go to the other side. I'm not gonna be on the bench side tonight. I'm gonna run up and down the other sideline there. Toxic Nick fan said Kemba needs to come off the bench. Him and Evan are too much of a liability on defense.
But who do you start then? That's
Right,
the
right.
problem.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who do we put in there. I mean, I'm sure there's something we can figure out. Um, but I'm not. I can't start Derrick Rose because he just can't handle it physically. I can't start quickly because he just hasn't shown me that he knows what he's doing right now for himself. And I can't start Deuce. So, and I'm not starting Alec at the one. It's it's tough because we're playing well, and I asked my one of my homeboys this the other day. I asked him with what we're starting to see, we know what we're getting out of Kemba. And this is don't get me wrong, this is not what I'm looking for. Please don't take this with a grain of salt. When the trade deadline comes around, or before then, and then someone like a Dame forces a trade, do you as the Knicks organization pull that trade off for Dame if it includes Kemba Walker, even though he just got here and he's helping us do what we're doing now? You know what I
You got to
mean?
do what you got to do. I think I wanted to hint on that at some point too. Like that trade deadline is going to be very important for us because I feel like even right now that the Knicks are trying to figure things out, I still feel like we're like one player away from the next thing.
The
So
next
I'm
one.
looking. Yeah, I'm looking at us like that Detroit team when before they traded for Rasheed Wallace. Rasheed Wallace wasn't there from the beginning of that year. He was picked up at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So once they got him, then that's when they was like, oh snap, they're a freaking championship team right now. What I'm saying? So I think the Knicks are going to be under that thing. So everybody's not going to make it to the end. So we just have to see how that plays out. But the Knicks definitely have extra players. So
Hmm.
we can get away with it. You
Yeah.
know,
I think we're definitely waiting for that December. What is it? December 19th or 20th, whatever day it is in December where you're allowed to trade the guys that you've just signed over the season,
Yeah,
over the off season, because it's not that we're trying to trade guys that we just signed, but I do know that other teams will be trying to do so. So that opens up the doors for players that will be available. And at this point, I don't know if we're looking for a huge star in a trade just yet, unless he's a Damian Lillard or something like that. But we are looking for some role players. I think
yeah.
there are some positions that we need to fill, especially on the bench. It's just going to be tough because we're going to have to give up somebody that's near and dear to our hearts, and everybody that puts on a Knicks jersey is near and dear to our hearts. So that's going to be tough. Um, Toxic says Tibbs Flicks collection must be crazy. I mean, and I guarantee you, every one of those tapes is tape on basketball. He's not watching any movie. He's sitting in there watching Miami versus Chicago games every night, trying to see what LeBron did in Wade. That's
Well,
just not.
this is the digital age though, man. So I know he has that iPad. You know what I'm saying? That nobody don't touch my iPad. You know what I'm saying? Quite sure.
I don't
Yo,
know.
shit. Yo,
He
Tibbs is
seemed
going to
like
the bathroom again.
gonna go watch some footage.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know. He seems like the old school guy. He looks like the kind of guy you walk in. He has the old school wooden china cabinets with a bunch of tapes in it, and and you pull it out and it says December 21st, Knicks versus Chicago, and then this January 30th. Just a bunch of games. I don't think he watches any movies.
I don't
I
think he.
can't.
I don't think he watches movies either. I think it's just like maybe like 30-second clips here and there. I think that's what he's watching on his iPad.
Yeah, what?
Yeah,
This is that
yeah,
damn iPad, man.
yeah. Don't invite me on the show no more, man. Because I'll
No,
take it. I'll take it
no.
to another place.
Listen, man. You're my bro. I'm used to it by now. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it. Don't worry about it, man. Your family there. Your family. Kemba and IQ point guard plays have about the same level. Plus, IQ defense is way better than what Kemba is giving us. I like that point. That's a great point. Even though IQ is struggling defensively, he's giving us more than what Kemba is giving us. But what I will say is, it depends on the game. If Kemba's having a bad game, I think then you go for an IQ to play the majority of those minutes until Kemba's game starts to round out. And this is still with playing Rose as the primary backup. I just think you switch the minutes with Kemba and IQ. Get IQ going maybe and see if that'll help Kemba, going, because at some point you're gonna have to put Kemba back in the game to see if he shook off the rust or whatever. But then if there's games where he comes out and he's doing what he's done in the past, he's 5 for 6 from three and he's knocking down all these 3 pointers. I don't think there's a reason you take him out the game until he goes cold. You know what I mean? So it's tough. It's tough when you have someone at that stage of their career where they can't demand to be on the floor, but what they bring to the floor is certainly more valuable than your second year guy. Sometimes I'll say.
yeah,
Uh, and even though IQ is definitely the better defender, he does Kemba does have a knack for getting into those lanes and picking up those charges, because he's definitely like undersized as a point guard, like extremely undersized at times.
yeah.
I don't know what the hell we're gonna do when Ben Simmons comes back and he has to play. What the hell are we gonna do?
Well, those charges will come in handy because you can't. You just forget that he's down there. He's 6'9", so you're looking this way, but Kemba's down here by his chest, so you can't see him.
Simmons over here, you just running into him. I don't know. There, speaking of which, there was a play tonight with who was it? There was they called a charge. No, it was Giannis on Nerlens, and he came down, and I think he did a euro or whatever, and he just went right through Nerlens, and they called it a defensive foul, a blocking
Yeah,
foul, and I'm like, no, come on, bro, because everyone knew what Giannis was going to do. Even the refs knew what he was going to do. He got to the spot before him, but it's those are star calls. You really, really can't be mad, because if we had a star, we would expect those calls too.
Yeah,
Simple.
Tom Thibodeau let the refs have it though, because he was saying that you got to call it on both sides,
Yeah.
because you do, because you're gonna give that to Giannis, you got to give it to RJ on the other end, because RJ's doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That
Yeah,
that play, yeah, yeah. Toxic knows the play. I'm talking. That play pissed me the hell off because I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, that has to be a superstar call. If that's literally anybody else, that's a charge. That's a
yeah.
charge without a doubt. But they lost. Whatever. And he says, bring Cam Reddish here. Ooh, I don't know if Atlanta's ready to get rid of Cam Reddish. I
I
don't
don't
think
think so neither.
I think they're gonna keep every shooter in there as much as they can. I think Boggs is staying. I think Cam is going to be the replacement for what Turkey gave them last year. Gallo. I think, yeah, man. I don't think the guy's going anywhere. I think he's starting to wake up at the right time for them, and they need him, and he's stepping up. I'm proud of him. He's a Dookie. Um, I always show love to my Duke brothers. Coach K is not there anymore, so I might pick a new team soon because he was the only reason why I was a Duke fan. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really like the guy.
Yeah,
Um, but anyway, that's all we got. I don't want to run this into a brick wall any more than we already have.
that's
Any
good stuff, man. Good stuff. I love hearing you talk basketball, man. So
appreciate you.
yeah, man,
Appreciate you.
definitely, man.
I try to act like I know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like
No,
sometimes.
it's good, man. I mean, after all this time that we spent, watching Fizdale, that was like basically when we all came into this, when
Yeah.
Fizdale got here. So watching bullshit basketball, but now things are to the point now where we can really talk basketball and not imaginary shit that
Hmm.
people say.
Hmm.
So this is incredible, man. So I'm good to talk to somebody. I'm happy to talk to somebody that knows what they're talking about. So it's like it's beautiful. It's like violin strings, man. You know.
Listen, man. I just I'm glad that we got in here and we started to watch it and see what it was for ourselves, and to be able to take the responsibility of being the media outlet that we want people to listen to. We want the people to listen to. Like I'm always big on. I don't care who it is. I'm not gonna do the competition here, especially in this community. As long as you're listening to somebody in this Knicks community on your Knicks news and your analysis, you're doing a good job because those guys on the national networks, I'm not going to say the names, on the national networks, they they have to watch. There's Let's be honest. How possible is it for you to watch every single game that's on and analyze every single play of every single game if you worked for these big name channels? You know what I mean? It's impossible. So you really can't expect for them to know anything about the game, what's going on behind closed doors, and things that happen, the nuances and the roller coasters of the game. So that's what we're here for. My man Eru, a diehard Knicks, much love. Eru's been here from the jump, man. He's always, always, always giving me tips and just helping me out and just giving me pointers. Sometimes when I'm not even asking for it, he be like, "Yo, man, you should." Da, 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 da. And I'm like,
I think that's the first thing I said to you guys. I think I hit you guys up and it says something. Yo, you guys should do it like this, or you should do something like
yeah,
that.
yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep. And then from then on, I was like, this is one of the guys I got to keep right next to me because he's always gonna look out for me. You know what I'm saying? Even when I'm not even asking for it, he's always gonna do that, man. So I
I
definitely
mean,
appreciate.
it's the Thai cliche, like real recognize real, that all that shit. You guys are good dudes, and I was so happy to meet you guys. Remember when I first met you? I turned around and he was like, "Hey, Ru," I was, "Hey, what's up?" Ah! I was like, I hugged you guys like this, like, "Oh, my brothers. So I mean,
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That was a great time, man. And it
yeah,
was wild because I'm like, we talk all the time. It's like we already have a friendship. But
right.
then seeing you in person, it was like, yo, like, damn, like, yo, what's going on, bro? Like, we chilling and hanging out, drinking and just talking Knicks and just being around each other, enjoying the game. That was one of the best times that I've ever had. And it wouldn't happen if we weren't part of this community. Uh, Before I get out of here, what is Xavier Marshall said? 3-team trade. Ben Simmons goes to the Blazers with Tybalt, Kevin Knox in the second round pick, Knicks pick, Sixers get Evan, CJ quickly, two Knicks first round picks, and Knicks get Dame and Seth Curry. Might need a fourth.
God damn.
Wow.
Wow, that's a lot going on there. And all we did was give up Kevin Knox, basically. Kevin Knox said
No,
quickly.
and Ember.
Oh, okay.
Ember. I keep saying Ember. Evan.
Yo, you should make that into something, Ember.
I
You guys
have to.
should do.
I have to. I have to now. Like it's Ember. It's probably gonna be like Kemba with a Evan head or something like that. I don't know. I'll figure something out. But yeah, listen, I'm not sure if that'll get it done. I feel like Portland Portland is definitely gonna want a haul back for Damian Lillard. They don't want to get rid of him unless he asks for a trade. So I don't see them just letting him go for a few guys from a few teams, especially for Ben, especially for Ben who looks like he just doesn't. He's not going to be in the right mental space. And I kind of feel like Ben's doing a little play on his mental health thing at this point.
He's just trying to secure the bag, man, with that mental
Yeah.
health stuff.
Right, because he did all this stuff and said you had the meeting and did all of that just so they can stop finding him. And now that today it came out, they said they're going to continue finding him until they figure out what's going on. And I'm sure he'll figure it out at that point. Hey,
Yeah, you got to pull those cards though, man. Because if I ever get in trouble at work, by a male supervisor, I'm gonna say sexual harassment, because I'm gay. I'm gonna start pretending that I'm gay. You know what I'm saying? Just like this particular thing, he's pretending, that he has like some kind of like mental issue or
mental
whatever,
issue, right,
just so he
right.
can keep the money. So if I ever get in trouble at work and they try to start messing with me, I'm a file sexual harassment.
Listen, and I guarantee you would still have your job and they will not bother you anymore because it's just, certain protections that you get. I wish that all of us would get equal amount of protection, and people to support you in your movements and stuff like that. But it's not that
Yeah.
easy all the time.
No.
But it's not the show for that. We are here talking Knicks and we won. Sunday we play the Cavs and Monday we play. Hold the hell up. Who do we play on Monday?
Back to back game though, man.
Yeah, back to back game. That's gonna be scary. First back to back game of the season. Which is
Sixers.
Sixers. They're gonna be trying to. They want payback. They're gonna want payback.
And then the Bucks after that. We got a back to back with the Cavs and the Sixers, and then a day later we play the Bucks again.
Yeah, Sixers gonna want revenge. Bucks are gonna want revenge. So we're gonna really have to be on our p's and q's, man. And they have to be perfect games. These guys have to play perfect because every single thing we slip up on, they're going to capitalize. It's just that's how they go, especially because of we're the Knicks, especially if any of those games are at home. Which one of those games are at home?
I think it's the Cavs.
The Cavs game and the other ones are on the road.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
the Bucks game is also at home also, but it's that second game is in Philly.
it's in Philly. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Wells Fargo.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. John, still Knicks fan, says, fellas, if we get the next win against the Cavs, would we pull off three in a row and get that win against the Sixers?
I
I
think
would.
so. I think we got that number two.
Yeah, I think we have the Sixers number, especially without Ben.
Yeah.
I mean, the only guy that'll have any kind of vengeance in his heart for us, I don't think Tobias is going to be there. It's another thing. Um,
Wow.
but Tyrese Maxey definitely wants to get some payback for the way Quickly did him. He made him fall and hit that three. So I guarantee he hasn't forgotten about that. So, but outside of him, I don't really see anybody else that you'd have to really worry too much about. I'm not sure if Joel is back. Is Joel back? Wasn't he out with a sore knee?
He played yesterday.
He
He
did play
played 30
yesterday.
minutes. Yeah, 30 minutes yesterday.
Okay. We'll see though. Shaq and Chuck were talking about that posting up from 5 miles away. So we'll see if we see any more of that tomorrow or Monday. Sorry about that. But that's it, man. We're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Garden Knicks podcast. Eru, let them know where they can find you, man.
Right there. Die Head Knicks podcast right here too. So you can find us right there. Yeah. Shout out to God of Knicks. Shout out to the other two guys that you have on here. I don't know who they are. We
shout
got
out,
Dre and Rick the Ruler. Shout out to those guys. Good,
shout out
good.
to Dre and Rick the Ruler. They're busy right now. I know Dre's not busy. He just got off of work, so he's probably watching the game. He likes to rewatch the games. Rick's busy. He probably got some drinks, and I'm going ahead and catch up with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Everybody deserves to have a life. I completely understand. There won't be. I speaking of which, I won't be here after Sunday's game. I have some other things that I will be attending to, so I won't be available. But I will be here Monday. That's the good thing about a back to back is that, I was gonna have to miss one of them. I wasn't gonna do it live after both. I don't know how I would have been able to get away with that. But yeah, man. Thank you guys tuning into the Garden Mix podcast. I'm your host Apollo Reed. You can find me everywhere at Apollo Reed _ and at Guard Up Knicks. Shout out to Eru. You can find him at Die Hard Knicks podcast. And my fellas and I, you can find us all at the bottom here. Joe wasn't on this show, but I didn't fix it. Don't worry about it. Shout out to Joe.
Yeah. Shout out to Regular Joe. He's cool too.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. Real cool dude. Fan of the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Till next time, y'all. Peace.